Hey YouTube, I got something different today. This is not a curb find. This is not my mower. This is a friend of mine, someone I used to work with, another LawnBoy fan, old LawnBoy fan like me. Her husband kind of restored this mower, put a lot of work into it. He actually tore down the block and put in new rings and repainted the block, put it all back together, painted the carburetor, painted the gas tank cap, switch, fuel shutoff valve. He polished up the chrome handlebars, and he can't get it to start. So he called me. So we'll see what we can do today. First thing I'm going to look at, it's not pulling the rope all the way back in. And when I picked it up yesterday, he said that all the gas leaked out. He's not sure where. I'm going to guess probably the carburetor. So I'll probably yank that off. And I'll check the tank, make sure there's no cracks. Before we take anything apart, let's hear this kind of go putt-putt. Well, hopefully you kind of saw it. For sure you could hear it. It sounds good, actually. But it's not 100%. That's where I come in. So let's get to it. I don't know if this will show, but this is a model number 7268 21-inch cut LawnBoy. And my friend tells me that it's a 1979 model. And I removed the 3 screws that were holding the shroud, the plastic cover on. They're not the originals. There are some new ones that he had, but they work. Here's the rewind. I believe it's held on underneath by a bolt, maybe a 3/8. I can't quite remember. Once I get that off, I should be able to get this out. And maybe I need to put another wind in that spring. I don't know for sure yet. This rewind is held on differently than mine. My LawnBoy, which is a 1977 or 78, has a bolt underneath that you unscrew, and then this whole thing slides out. I don't see a bolt on this one. So what I'm going to do, I've got this extra rope here. I'm just going to wrap it around. And now when the cover's back on, now it's going to pull the handle all the way back up to the shroud. So that's what I'm going to do for that one. Now the carburetor. Normally, to remove these carburetors, you can get yourselves a socket, and there's a little hole there, and you can go through and take off that bolt in the back. There's 2 of them, one on each side. But the owner has put bigger bolt heads back there than my handheld nut driver will fit through that hole. This is a 3/8. He put a 7/16 back there. But where there's a will, there's a way. And after a brief struggle, carburetor is off. So I believe I found the source of our leak. Can you guys see it? The needle, he has it wrapped over the pin, and I think it should be like a Tecumseh carburetor, and it should be on the side rather than over the top. So I'm going to move that and put it back together. I'll clean it since I got it apart, but that's why it leaked gas. And there we go. I like that better. Got the needle, that little hook on the side of the float rather than over the top. I sprayed it all out with carb cleaner. And now we have the carburetor bolted back on. Let's put everything else back on, put gas in it, see what we have. We're back together. I put fuel in it, 2-stroke. My mix is 32:1. I think that's probably what this old girl takes. I'm just kind of sitting here, chilling, watching for leaks. I don't see any leaks. I pushed the primer. It primes ridiculously. Way too much in my opinion, but hey, it primes. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he painted the primer bulb. I don't know. Let's give it a try. Here is my spare LawnBoy carburetor upside down with the bulb off. You'll see there the needle on this one is off to the side. Also, before on the carburetor for the LawnBoy I was fixing, I didn't have the float in right. You see here, the brass is on one side of the float. I had the float upside down. The float needs to be so that the brass is closer to the seat. And that's why when I put it back together, it was leaking. So the old girl sounds pretty good for being 40 plus years old. Cliff, if you were watching this video, you did a good job. So I think it's fixed. At least it runs. I know it runs. Starts hot. I left gas in the tank and I put a paper towel underneath the carburetor. Guess I'll put one under the tank too, just to make sure we fixed our leaking problem. And if we have, this will go back to the owner. A very happy owner. This was a fun project. I don't usually work on these. I hate working on my own because I don't have parts for them, and sometimes it's just harder to troubleshoot on those. Brigs are just easier to work on, in my opinion. I haven't even put gasoline in my LawnBoys this year. But at least I got to tinker on one. Got to smell that beautiful 2-stroke smell. And I will add too I'm not going to mow any grass with this today because we have gotten about 10 plus inches of rain in the last 3 to 4 days. So my yard, yeah, it's tall, it needs to be mowed, but it's saturated. I don't want to get this thing all caked up with grass when I give it back to the owner. So, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching.